According to the American Foundation for the Blind, 10 million people in the U.S. have significant vision loss or are blind. As Americans live longer, more and more of us will be affected by vision loss. Every year, 1.4 million Americans lose significant central vision because of macular degeneration. 12 to 24,000 people lose their sight to diabetes each year, making it responsible for 8% of the new cases of blindness in adults. 1 out of every 30 people in the U.S. is visually impaired. Meet Dee. Dee is a mother of 2 and a resident of Peoria, Illinois. As a result of a tragic car accident in 2002, Dee was struck blind. Though she tries to live a normal life of independence, she finds that even the simplest tasks can become a great challenge, especially when it involves the exchange of U.S. currency. We're here with 56-year-old blind widow Mary Scroggs with her dog Cruiser. Mary was the victim of a drunk driver who almost lost her life when she was ran over in front of the Caterpillar World Headquarters on July 18, 1994. Mary is now visually impaired and has created a website called blinddollars.org. It's used to communicate with Congress, asking them to print money with touch sensors, so that visually impaired can also use the most common form of currency, the U.S. dollar. Now Mary, is there a political issue affecting the blind people that isn't being discussed in this 2008 election?
Yes, the United States claims to be a world leader, but we are one of the few countries that do not have our currency identifiable by feel.
Why is this important?
Because if you're blind, you can't identify your currency. You have no way of knowing what denomination of currency you're holding, and you don't know when you give or receive money if it's accurate.
What's the problem that blind people have with the U.S. currency today?
Our currency is the same size and the same texture for all denominations. So you cannot tell a 5 from 20 from 100. In Canada, they have currency that is identifiable by feel. You can feel the 2 bumps there that tell you it's a $5 bill.
Oh yeah, yep, right there, up in the corner.
There's no reason our country can't have its currency identifiable by touch.
Is this the problem with blind people in other countries as well?
No, there's over 100 countries in the world that have different size currency. They have raised markings on the currency. Matter of fact, I was in Australia right before I got run over, and I noticed they had different size bills. I thought, wow, this would be neat if I was blind, never realizing within 3 months I would be blind.
Now, in 1979, Pete Stark, the congressman from California, was trying to pass some legislation. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
In 1979, Pete Stark tried. Then in 1997, a resolution actually got passed by the House, and the National Federation of Blind helped back that bill through the House, went to the Senate. The Treasurer ignored it. I was involved in the 97. I got Ray LaHood involved, and I asked Ray afterwards, I said, why didn't this go? And he said, a resolution's only good for the year that it occurs in. If no action's taken on it, they say on there, it says resolved. And I didn't know what resolved meant because the Treasurer hadn't done anything.
Has anything happened with this issue since 1997?
In 2002, the American Council of the Blind sued the Treasurer using the Rehabilitation Act, which says that government services should be given to those who are handicapped. A federal judge in D.C. approved or sided with the side of the American Council, but the Treasurer did not they said they could negotiate on how to make it identifiable by feel. The Treasurer did not negotiate. He appealed it, and the National Federation of the Blind is helping him to appeal this.
Now, Does the Foundation for the Blind, Lighthouse International, and the Blinded Veterans Association support you in making the currency identifiable by feel?
Yes, they all came out publicly in support of the American Council of the Blind.
Why does the National Federation of the Blind oppose what the American Council is doing?
Well, ironically, the National Federation of the Blind was thanked by the legislature when the resolution went through in 97 through the House. But since 97, they've come up with a device that is supposed to read currency. Here's the device. It's a camera that you put on top of the currency. You take a picture and it reads. It'll take any 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and read what's on it. Can you imagine going shopping? You've got a blind stick or a guide dog with you. You've got this camera. You've got your purchases. And when you get your change, you're supposed to put each bill under this and take a picture of it? How ludicrous is that? What if I was in Canada buying things, I could tell by the feel of the dollar what my change was. Mm-hmm. I can see that there are uses for this. Plus, $3,000, the average American can't afford $3,000. Plus, to carry it, can you imagine being in a taxi cab, trying to use this to pay? It is insane. And it makes me question their intentions as to why they're backing the Treasury, when before they backed against the Treasury. They only represent 1% of the blind population, and now that the blind population, with the yuppies getting older, getting macular degeneration, with people with diabetics becoming blind, that population of blind people blind people being people who cannot identify their currency, is raising sharply.
Now, what about the Treasury? What are their reasons for opposing this?
They say they can't afford it. They're spending so much money on counterfeiting. They could make the counterfeiting tie in with making the currency identifiable by feel. By having raised markings, there's only 6 different denominations. They don't have to change the size of the bill. They just have to come up with some way to identify which bill is which. Plus, if the currency was identifiable by feel, then blind Americans who are on unemployment could work. They could work as cashiers. They could work as waiters and waitresses. Anywhere that deals with currency, they could work where they can't now because they can't tell the currency apart. So not only is this a political issue from the currency standpoint, it also is one from the unemployment standpoint.
Now, what should people do if they want to learn more about this issue or would like to take action?